Where to even start for today's show? The Trump pump does continue, and the whole family tree seems to be launching coins left, right, and center. The question is this good, bad, or ugly for the crypto space? Could this ignite a massive altcoin season? Of course, the bubble that stands tall amongst them all is Trump over here, but you can see that there's a new one which is coming to the mix, and that's Melania Trump just having launched her own coin as well, and it looks like the whole family tree is about to come out. Will this bring liquidity back into the crypto market, the rest of the crypto market? Because we have seen a massive drain, right? A lot of you may have seen over the course of Sunday, your altcoins dropping pretty heavily over Saturday and Sunday, right? Liquidity being drawn out. Will that liquidity turn and move back into the rest of the space? And then we can enter into the, of course, banana zone for the rest of the cycle. Well, everything's been playing exactly according to plan. And I'll show you where we are in terms of the timing cycle and how it is literally picture perfect, one-to-one, exactly where I would expect it should be, and what comes up next. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. There it is. There is your Trump token, right? Again, measured against USDC over here. You do, of course, have your local top coming in at $73. And the question is this going to be a complacency bounce, or is this going to lead to continuation, right? So you do need to be, of course, cautious of that complacency bounce, or are we going to lead to a mass breakout? Like, I tend to lean towards we're probably going to have continuation of this move over here, although it is very, very hyped and is definitely overextended. And the reason that I believe that is because you're seeing mainstream listings and a lot of the normies starting to dip their toes into the crypto markets. And this could be a major catalyst that could lead into a roaring altcoin season. This may have been the trigger, the beginning of the end, right? Vote in the poll section below. We are running a poll right now. I'd actually love to know what your thoughts are if you go over here. What is your take on the Trump coin saga and the inauguration, which is, of course, happening today? Will this trigger altcoin season? Is it going to be a slow and steady but very long cycle? Is it the beginning of the end for this crypto cycle? Or is this a short-term sell the news event and you're out of the market? Make sure that you vote over there. I can definitely make the argument for multiple of these answers. Most specifically, this will trigger altcoin season. I believe this will bring a flood of new retail money into the crypto market. And these are the types of domino effects that you need to see and you tend to see before leading to a final cycle top. Every cycle is slightly different in terms of what that catalyst is. The prior cycles were things like Elon Musk, of course, bull posting like crazy all over Twitter. And each cycle, you need something bigger and better to drive that total market cap towards the upside. And what could be bigger and better than the actual president of the United States of America coming into crypto in this kind of fashion, right? However, I'll also make the argument over here that it's number 3, the beginning of the end for this crypto cycle. These are the types of things that you tend to see when you enter into that peak euphoria phase, right? So this is the initiation, the catalyst of what leads to that peak euphoria phase. And in hindsight, when you look back in a couple of months' time, who knows whether it's 6 months or 12 months, we will again be in the markets each and every single day. But whether it's 6 or 12 months later, the signs and symptoms would have been very, very, very obvious, right, as to what comes next. So that is Trump really, really pumping. Melania also up over here, sitting at a $2.8 billion market cap. There you have your 4-hour candles. So it's currently trading at $11. I haven't even had time to look into the launch behind this, who launched it, if it's the same team. I've heard a couple of takes that these are actually separate teams, but nevertheless, it was tweeted from her official Twitter account or X account, and the prices are running, right? Big news, of course, listing on major exchanges, retail exchanges like Robinhood, also Binance listings across the board. So mass money will be able to move into these projects, and consequently, you should see the total cryptocurrency market cap breaking out to higher prices. And if you look at what Eric Trump wrote, he said, wait until you see what they do tomorrow, right? Wait until you see. So it sounds like there's a whole lot of more things coming out over here. One of which is you have, of course, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏, right? The World Liberty Finance coin, the initial sale of the token has launched, right? And pretty much it's sold out very, very quickly. They actually upped at least the opportunity to get in a little bit of a high price. They opened up a couple of extra tickets over there. Personally, I'm sitting this one out. And the reason I'm sitting this one out is because I already have exposure to Trump in the form of multiple ways, one of which is through Solana is my biggest position. So I'm up massively because of that. The other bit of exposure that I have is to the Trump NFT collection, which at the time I was shouting from the rooftops that I think that these are great opportunities to be getting into, to be buying the NFT. So I have indirect exposure through that. This works very, very similar to the NFTs where it's non-transferable, right? So the wallet that you sign up with, if you are buying this World Liberty Finance token, please do understand that as it currently stands, these are non-transferable, which means there isn't really a market for it. We don't know what they're going to do with this in the future, but as it currently stands, if you purchase these tokens, you will not be able to move the tokens. And at this point in the market cycle, personally, I don't feel comfortable being locked up, right? So I want to be liquid. I want to be able to move things whenever I feel like it, because I do believe this is the beginning of the end, right? So a lot of things going on. If you also look at 𝗂𝗥𝗡𝗏 coming out quick with the news over here, this is just building on why there's more to come, right? Trump family crypto projects, multi-sig, had just secured World Liberty.eth, Trump Coin.eth, 𝗥𝗢𝗏𝗕𝗏, BaronTrump.eth, all in a single sweep, right? Someone's planning ahead. There's something coming, right? There is something coming. And if you did miss out, there's the family tree, right? If you want to look at Ivana Trump divorced, right, you can look at her family that came from that divorce. You have Tiffany Trump, you have Marla Trump over here, Baron Trump. These are all the Trumps that you can look out for if you're looking for a quick trade, right? So although initially this has drawn a lot of liquidity from the market, and many people believe that this is the way things are flowing, remember, this is always phase one is Bitcoin, phase two is ETH, then you go into large caps and, of course, low cap altcoins. It's really been Trump, Melania, Barron, and then Eric, at least, is the speculation for how this cycle is playing out. And that's why we've seen mass liquidations. In fact, this is on the higher end with one of the biggest liquidations that we've seen in a long time. $1.25 billion worth of liquidations occurred yesterday. And that's, of course, because they opened up a lot of perpetual contracts, plus the liquidity drain that's coming from the rest of the cryptos. People are bailing out of large caps, market selling so that they can ape into the Trump coins. Now, one thing that I can tell you for free is that very, very, very rarely in trading markets and life in general does FOMOing into something ever pay off, right? So please do be careful. If you are one of those people that are FOMOing into these positions, please do be careful. This is essentially the trigger for that mania phase, and we are seeing it in real time, right? So although the liquidity is being drained, I do think that this picture really resonates with what's potentially happening, right? So the drain of liquidity is the tide drawing out, and soon this is likely what you're to see next. And this is why I don't think it's all too bad for crypto. I do think it will eventually end with big crocodile tears across the board. But I think initially this is going to bring a lot of retail market participants coming into the market, which will drive that parabolic phase, which is what everybody talks about as the bull run, right? The roaring bull run, the craze that we had in 2017, the end of the cycle that we saw in 2021. This is the very, very beginning of that, right? So we're about to see mass liquidity coming into the market. And I do think that although some of your coins have drawn out to move into those other coins, people are going to eventually rotate. They're going to rotate back into stronger projects. And if you were doing your homework, which we have been for a long time, this is why we remain Solana heavy for pretty much the majority of the cycle, you would still be a benefactor of the Trump pump, right? Because Solana has had some massive, massive moves. And if you look at Bitcoin over here, right now up 7.64% to just shy of $109,000. And we've broken some very, very key levels. It is looking absolutely fantastic. Last week's close was not perfect, but this week already breaching above the previous lower high, or at least the previous local high that we said over there. We've now created a new swing high, which means trend in motion, right? High highs and high lows is the name of the game. And the important thing to me, at least, is that I was a little bit nervous that we, of course, broke. Let's just quickly make that a little bit bigger. I was a little bit nervous that we broke those stop and reversal indicators, but you can see once again, we've broken those. So they've now popped to the bottom, and that basically clears the skies above to show that it's price discovery. And when it's price discovery, you know, there's no resistance overhead and things can pretty much move like a hot knife through butter. And you can see very, very powerful moves happen very, very quickly. So my at least minimum target that I'm looking at over here is going to be coming in at about $122,000. And the at least what we're going to do next into that target depends on the momentum behind the move. This is the crazy part. The next slide, right? If we go into the next chart over here, the crazy part is we're already fast approaching that $120,000 target, but we are coming off of very, very, very low volatility, which has just started to expand. Momentum oscillators on the 5-day have been completely reset. And this means this can go well beyond that $120,000 level. So although that was previously, I'm talking about months back, a major target at a minimum target, I was looking for about $120,000. Given the momentum that we currently have right before us over here and how much speed you can build up into the zone, I would expect that we would go right through this level, and I might actually be inclined to start to raise my targets. Now, you do need to be careful of any analysts that you're listening to out there in terms of moving the goalposts all the time. If you can back that up by data and those analysts can back it up with a justifiable at least grounds, like I'm giving you over here, low volatility on the bottom, low momentum, which means that we can still put in some serious big moves over here, then fair enough. But if people are constantly towards the end of the cycle, you'll see this commonly, they'll start to raise the targets without any justified reason. That is a warning sign. These are the things that you're looking for a cycle top. Now, we can also default to where we are in the cycle and the risk metrics. Well, if we look in terms of the historical risk and how risky it is to be getting into the market right now, the interesting thing is we haven't even nearly reached into those extreme zones. We're actually sitting below 0.5. So in the 0.4 to 0.5 category over there, that is our current risk metrics. And remember, these cycles tend to top. Let's just quickly throw that back onto the screen over there. These cycles tend to top between the 90 and 100 percentile mark, like we saw back in 2021, like we saw back in 2017 and 2014. And as you can see, we've got none of those color schemes over there, which again supports why there could still be much higher prices ahead for Bitcoin. And if there's much higher prices ahead for Bitcoin, and we're seeing a massive drop in Bitcoin dominance, as well as the USDT breakdown, which we'll touch on in just a bit, this is great news. This means that the altcoins can really get moving. So cyclically, we're currently following the purple trajectory. We're exactly where you would expect us to be. And if we are following most similarly to the 2017 cycle, which so far, if we just zoom out over there, seems to have been the case. You can look from the start to the current price, it's been almost picture perfect in that regard. Then really this is the phase where you start to mark up aggressively. So if the inauguration phase is going to play out like it did back in 2017 and 2021, then the expectation would be that the next couple of weeks, we're looking at some really good price action towards the upside. And this is where the life-changing gains can be made, right? If you are new to the space, I would recommend pause the video in just a minute's time. Make sure that you go through to the link in the description below. Make sure that you go through to Whale School. Sign up over here as soon as you possibly can. We're doing an accelerator course where you can pretty much go through this entire trading course in just 10 days, right? We begin in 9 days' time. Learn to trade like a whale in just 10 days. This is my course to you. It's completely free. You don't have to pay 1 cent. The reason that I recommend that you get in is because ultimately, a lot of new people may be coming to the market thinking this is the very start of the bull market. But in actual fact, we are already probably more than 2/3 of the way through this bull run. And consequently, I'll teach you how to think when it comes to trading and executing a trade plan, right? So we're looking at acceleration. If we do get that like 2017, it should be looking really good. The important thing is we spoke a lot about this as price was moving up towards those highs. Once again, a major factor that we needed to see. This was an absolute must. We had to see this, which was a rise in the volume as price was moving up. And we have got that. We've got that. We need to see a lot more, right? Much more volume needs to come into the market. And I think that this Trump pump could be the catalyst that gives the green light and the go-ahead for a lot of those skeptics out there, the sideline market participants, to start to deposit onto exchanges and bring that capital to the market. Once that capital comes to the market, of course, it will be risked into various different coins, various different projects. And that's where we start to see prices rallying towards the upside. It's not possible for this bull run to be sustained unless we see an increase in the volume. And we had this massive divergence, which of course is what led to the correction that we had. Remember, the primary target was $85,000, and the common theme that we've seen throughout this cycle, the common the pullback level was $85,000, and the common theme that we've seen from the start of this bull run to right now is that those obvious levels keep getting front run, right? Which actually shows the strength within this market. So we are looking for the volume to completely eclipse what we saw in 2021, which means we need to get above $150 billion. So keep this chart in mind. Follow me every single day. Follow me on X. There is a link in the description below that will take you to my X account as well as my Instagram account. I will keep you up to date each and every single step of the way, because as the market becomes more and more frothy, it becomes incredibly difficult to navigate. This is one of the factors that we're looking at in terms of our exit signal for when to be leaving the market. And we said at the very, very least, we want to start to see price at least, or the volume breaking above the $150 billion mark and probably even eclipsing it. At that point, we can start to reduce risk and take some chips off the table. As you can see, again, in alignment with the risk metrics over here, we're nowhere near that point, right? Which shows, again, in agreement with this chart, that there is still some big moves that could be coming in the next couple of weeks' time. So looking at the volume chart over here, we did get that volume, right? You had a rise of volume as price was pushing up and broke out over there. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's a good sign. We're also looking at the various different zones in terms of the breakup structure. Remember, the way that trading works as a trend trader is you look at the highs, you need to take out that high. You have lower highs, you need to take out that lower high. And then, of course, you have lows. You need to print higher lows along the way. So we have our first higher high. Eventually, we're going to come back down at somewhere in the vicinity of major support to put in a high low. And that kind of becomes your last buying opportunity. So good news that we've broken above the high volume areas. There it is. Price is holding up above that. As long as price continued to defend and hold, most specifically above the point of control over here, which was $97,000, $98,000, that was very, very important. We got exactly that, right? Multiple daily candle closes above that. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now the 6th candle above that. That's enough for a full confirmation of a back test into the trend line, right? Breakout, back test into the trend line, and now it's gearing up for the next major move. So, and we're seeing it. We're witnessing the move right now as we currently speak. So we need to look at some of the altcoins. What are going to be the best picks to get into as well? We have price above the yellow line, which means your RSI is trending towards the upside, right? As long as this relative strength index continues to trend towards the upside, bulls will remain in control. But remember, we've spoken about this a lot over the last couple of weeks. The pendulum will swing, right? The pendulum swings where bulls have the opportunity to run a turbo, and then bears will have the opportunity to take control. That's usually where you print your next high low in a strong trending move, and that will be coming up sometime soon, right? Stay tuned, follow each and every single day. Now, also, if you are looking for a place to trade, remember, if you are new here, sign up, use the link below. There is a link at least to Bybit over here. You can get up to $30,000 worth of sign up bonuses. So if you use that specific link, they will qualify you for a sign up bonus. On top of that, you're going to get 10% off on your trading fees, which over time adds up to a whole lot. So sign up to Bybit. This is one of my preferred trading accounts to use. Quickly looking over here at the USDT dominance, we have been range bound. You know, the excitement around the crypto market right now that could bring in those new retail participants could be enough to start to break this down. Now, the reason this chart is important is because remember, when this chart goes down, crypto typically goes up, because this is essentially stable coins flowing out of the stablecoin market into the risk-on market, that being altcoins, Bitcoin, etc. And that's where we see those big pumps. Now, I would expect in order for us to actually enter into parabolic phase, we should start to close multiple candles below the support level. And we're coming back into this area yet again for 1, 2, and this is now the, let's call it the 4th time. That was the 3rd time. This is your 4th time. So is the 4th time a charm? Is that enough to start to break it down? Only time will tell. The great news is that we are getting an increase in volume while simultaneously the attempt to break that level down, right? The volume is rising. that's exactly what we need to see. So pay attention to the space. Watch this chart over here. It is a vitally important chart in order to see where things are going next. On top of that, if we look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, which is probably one of the most important things to follow alongside the volume and where the volume is going, if volume is rising and the total cryptocurrency market cap is increasing towards the upside, putting in high highs and high lows, this means one thing and one thing simply: new money is entering into the market. If new money is entering into the market has the opportunity to continue towards the upside in terms of price, right? Remember, a rising tide, which is going to be your total cryptocurrency market cap, will lift all ships. So if the total cryptocurrency market cap goes up, even if you're a terrible trader and you make very, very bad picks in terms of which coins you want to go into, chances are you will still make money. And this is why in bull markets, everyone is a genius. If you haven't heard that saying before, that is commonly used within markets. Everyone is a genius in a bull market, right? And when it's a bear market, they get absolutely rinsed. So we want to make the profits, but we also want to keep the profits. And that's why we need to watch this chart over here. And I do think that this is the next big expansion, right? And this could be the final phase. Only time will tell. I will be looking at some point to take a lot of the chips off the table. I'll let you know exactly when. The plan of action, at least going back to this chart, which we've mapped out almost to perfection for a very, very long time, is this, right? Just quickly touching base on this. This has been the exact plan. All these little vertical lines over here were there to help us to time when this correction would come to its end. We nailed it to a T, as well as every correction before there, as well as our entry into the market. And now the expectation has been this. I've been looking at this for a long time. I am expecting rapid expansion, possibly even into March. How high Bitcoin will go, only time will tell. As I said, I may need to elevate those targets from about $120,000 to $130,000 and maybe start to look into the 140K region based on the volatility and momentum behind the move. Nevertheless, I'm looking for price to top out and put in a major local top or even possibly a cycle top sometime in March. Now, then I'd be looking for a major correction. And even if it is the start of a bear market, at that point, we should put in some massive bounces, which we could also, they're tradable, we can play that. But ultimately, my base case is still that we will end the cycle 1,060 bars from the bottom, which would put us anywhere between October and November of this year. But first, we would need to have some sort of a major correction, which may bring price all the way back down towards the $100,000 mark, possibly even $80,000. And then there's that CME gap at 77. In an extreme wick case scenario, maybe you wick into that zone, put in a major high low, and then slowly grind and run it back into October, November for the final actual top, right? So these are some of the things that I'm looking at. This is just planning far ahead. Total cryptocurrency looks good. We just covered that. Let's quickly look at the Total 3 chart. Total 3, which is your altcoin sector. Where's that comment? Someone just asked, when alt season, right? When alt season? Well, this is your answer. When alt season would be as soon as you see Total 3 get confirmation above the prior all-time highs, which is going to be that 1.14 trillion. So you're looking for Total 3, which is narrowly there, right? It's approaching there. If it can just start to close multiple candles above that level, that's going to be where you get your explosive phase towards the upside. And this could be that moment, right? We could be in the midst of that moment, literally days to weeks away from that happening. If we look at others, this is also your true degen market breaking out of that cup and handle. You had your perfect back test into that level. All in all, that's looking good. Total 3 measured against Bitcoin. This one's getting a bit hammered. We need to see multiple candle closes above the breakup structure over there. You can see it is slowly starting to come down. And that's mostly based off of the Bitcoin move that we're seeing right now, up 7%, Bitcoin breaking out, right? So the others against Bitcoin, also same thing over here. The reason we look at this chart is this gives us, it shows us the relationship and the ratio between the altcoin sector and Bitcoin, right? And at some point, this is what your altcoin season would look like, right? At some point, you're going to get a move like this. And maybe you come down one more time, but once you get that move, that is essentially your altcoin season. And this happens very, very, very quickly. Remember that. Risk returns very, very quickly. This is the importance of making strong picks, right? You want to pick very, very powerful altcoins that are uptrending in order to succeed. Because even though Bitcoin has outperformed the majority of the altcoins, we've done very, very well by making solid picks like in Solana, for example. And it's probably a good time to mention that this is why you want to maintain at least your finger on the pulse of what your altcoins are doing and understand, how your portfolio looks and where things are split. So I use CoinStats. This is my portfolio tracker over here. And the importance of this is, for example, if I go through down to the bottom coin over here, I have USA. USA was one of the beneficiaries of the Trump pump because, of course, it's patriotic to the United States. This was sitting at somewhere around 0.25% on my portfolio. You can now see it sitting at about 1.64% of my portfolio. So up absolutely massively. The reason that I use these types of portfolio trackers is because you can see in real time how your portfolio is doing, number one, against Bitcoin, against USDC, or any other currency for that matter, right? So you can actually track it using the graph on the top over here to see, is your portfolio generally moving towards the upside or not? So if we look at my portfolio over the last year, you can see it has been uptrending, right? And then you can toggle through over here and you can go in a Bitcoin denominated value. What does your portfolio look like? So my portfolio, for the most part, is consolidating around those all-time highs, right? And these are my picks. As you can see, I currently don't hold any Bitcoin. And the reason why is because I'm anticipating that there'll be this big rotation into the altcoins and we should get some big, powerful moves. So for any of you out there who do want to also track your portfolio, if you go through to the link below, you can go have a look there for CoinStats. There's CoinStats. I've arranged a 50% discount for the crypto banter viewers. That is off of a 12-month subscription. It will cost you $7 per month to manage your portfolio. It's very, very important because you need to know when some of your coins are up massively relative to the rest of the market. That tells you when to rotate, when to profit take. For example, now out of USA, I can start to rebalance that portfolio, right? So I am expecting this type of a move to come very, very soon. Remember, this is heavily also based on the seasonality, which suggests that Ethereum should outperform Bitcoin, especially in Q1. And that currently has not been the case, right? You can see 2025 Q1 Bitcoin up 9.14% and Ethereum up 1.2%. But we know that in a post-halving year, this is where things go parabolic for at least ETH, right? 518% in 2017, 160% in 2021. If we look at Bitcoin as in terms of a comparison, Bitcoin was up 11% versus ETH's 518 in 2017. Bitcoin was up 103% in 2021 versus 160% for ETH, right? So we'll continue to watch the space and see how things unfold because the ETH BTC chart has been getting wrecked, right? Absolutely rinsed. We've spoken about this for a long time, keeping a close eye out on the yellow box area, which is also the bottom of the falling wedge. And now we've officially, over the course of the weekend on Saturday or Sunday, we have officially tagged that level. Now, this doesn't mean that you should start to ape into Ethereum, just to be very, very clear. I would recommend you go back and you have a look at the show that I put out on Saturday, right? It's the shows there from Saturday. It was about Ethereum and the higher beta plays on ETH, right? We spoke about things like Pepe, Brett, Andy. We had Landwolf, and then we also had what was the other one that we had? Here we go. Andy, Landwolf, Pepe, and Bird Dog. That's it, Bird Dog. These are the higher beta plays on ETH. So if ETH is going to go up, these are going to go up a whole lot more. I don't want to dabble in that too much. Please go back to that video, watch that. You are waiting for confirmation, right? So I've lowered the confirmation level in terms of the reversal. Before the confirmation level, I had all the way up here, 0.03955. So you need to see price trading above that level. I've now lowered that based on the new structure that we have unfolding over here. I would now be looking at my first warning sign that things are reversing if you start to see it breaking above this level, which is 0.0375, right? So even if it comes lower, and puts in another lower high, well, then we'll just adjust that level over there. So simply just wait for the confirmation. Wait for the confirmation of the actual breakout. Otherwise, you do risk this, right? Which at the moment is looking like full-on capitulation for Ethereum. ETH is getting absolutely rinsed over there. All right, let's continue. Solana looking really, really good. What I wanted to outline over here just before the show, but obviously Sol's already starting to put in a bounce, is if we do focus on some of these key levels, looking at the daily time frame. So first and foremost, we can look all the way back to the prior all-time highs. We did get a daily close above the prior all-time high. We then had this massive candle, obviously prices coming down, but you can see the next candle, which is today's candle, wicked exactly into the 50% level, right? That is the significance of that 50% level. It's always in a strong trending move, a key area that you want to pay attention to. So $232, we wicked a little bit lower to $229, and now you can see you are getting the massive bounce. So you're looking for strength to be found at any highly volatile coin around that 0.5 to 0.382. Those are the two key levels that I look at. And as long as we're closing candles above here, I would say that Solana does still look strong and has the opportunity to really start to move into price discovery, similar to what Bitcoin is doing, right? So all in all, that's looking good. ETH USD, you are getting a bit of a move again. Go watch the show that I put out on Saturday. But there is an inverse head and shoulders formation, which has a bullish target. There's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder potentially forming. What I find interesting about this is also the timing factor, right? So if you do see ETH playing this out over here, based on what this does, I might, adjust those other targets that I have in terms of the timing cycle. So going back on this chart, I said, I'm looking to be pretty cautious running into March or the end of March. But if this takes its time, if you look at ETH, if ETH takes its time and runs this up slowly, approaching the neckline into March, well, maybe we have to reevaluate, because you could only then start to break out in April. And if you do break out in April, the measured move for ETH is going to take it all the way up to 5,738, right? So those are the levels. That's what we're looking at over there. At the end of the day, ETH has been very, very frustrating to a lot of people. I recommend that you use it as an index, right? Use it as an index to determine what the rest of the higher beta plays in the altcoin sector is going to do next. It's not necessarily something that you need to be holding on to try and make money towards the upside, because for the most part, it has been lackluster and underperformed. But it's been a really good metric to show when to go risk on into the rest of the altcoins and when to maybe go a little bit more cautiously risk off, right? So all in all, that's what we're looking at over there. That's looking good. Let's just reevaluate 𝗬𝗓. Okay, so I did mention this before. I said, 𝗬𝗓 is not necessarily the coolest kid on the block anymore, though everyone thinks it is right now. But price-wise, it is telling us that maybe there is a little bit of a warning sign over here that it could start to cool off, because you put in your major top over there, you put in a lower high, another lower high over there, and on top of that, you're starting to put in lower lows. And yesterday's candle that gave up a lot of the gains, despite I don't want to ignore the technical analysis. In yesterday's instance, maybe you can say that it was a little bit of a, let's say, black swan event for the altcoin sector, because we've never seen such a massive liquidity draw from a president of the United States literally launching meme coins. I almost have to pinch myself to believe that this has actually happened. But nevertheless, the TA did suggest a weakening trend, right? What was previously a very, very powerful trend, you started to see a slowdown of that trend. Now, I don't want to say this is not inherently bearish. It just might mean that 𝗬𝗓, following some massive, massive moves over here, which we did get long on the final shakeout all the way at the bottom over there. We said following a massive move like this, you might just go through a bit of a slowdown phase, right? You might see 𝗬𝗓 just, bounce around a little bit, form a trading range over here, which means that you can pick up some 𝗬𝗓 on the cheap, just below $4. That would be $3.90, somewhere within that region. And that's basically where you're looking at your range low reaccumulation. So don't be surprised if you see 𝗬𝗓 forming a trading range between these two levels and underperforming things like Solana, which are about to enter into a trending move. This is the thing. You need to be quick. You need to be smart within the crypto markets. This is not like the 2017 cycle where you could just put your money in a portfolio of 20 coins and come back 4 years later and everything would have pumped to the moon. This cycle, you have to actually actively manage your portfolio and you would have to move things around, right? So very, very interesting. If we look at hype over here, let's drop onto a low time frame just because there's not that much price history. So hype has a key range low over here. This was a significant level. We'll extend that towards the right-hand side. You did break structure. So in terms of the downsloping trend line over there, we put in a bit of a higher high, came back down, still putting in a higher low, but it is a little bit sloppy. These guys have done massive volume, high trading fees fundamentally, it seems like a pretty solid bet. I do have a small amount allocated in terms of my portfolio over here, but ultimately, to break out of the trading range, you would need to see it clear this level, right? So this is going to be your big SR flip over here. We'll expand that over there to 2 points. If you get above $25 over here on Hyperliquid, this one should start to go really, really well. Let me know in the comments as well what other coins you want to have a look at. I'm keeping an eye and keeping tabs on the comment section over there, and I'll quickly try and bring some of those up. Now, some of the other coins have been heavily hit, right? But you are seeing a quick bounce, right? You're seeing a quick bounce over there. If you look at something like Casper, this is part of the space. This is what you can expect, 21% drops. But in a number of like a couple of hours to days, you're getting 44% pumps. So as long as you're maintaining that high and high low structure, everything does still look okay. You want to see this getting above 14 cents for Casper. Quickly just measuring out from the low to the high over there, you are getting back above the 50% level. So now you want to start to see multiple candle closes above that 50% level, which is 13 cents, of course, for Casper. Okay, I'm going to go into this chart because there's more price history. This is, and we'll go into the daily time frame. This is Phantom. So Phantom now rebranded to Sonic. This is the Sonic chart. We don't have enough price issue over there. So we're just going to have a look at this one over here. You are in your key demand zone, right? This is a very, very, very important area of demand. If I extend a little bit further down, a big SR flip zone, right? So Phantom really needs to bounce over here. If Phantom does not bounce over here and sets in yet another lower high, this coin is going to get absolutely dumped, right? So just be careful of that. If you do put in a lower high over there, then you do risk going all the way back down to what I would then be looking at as the next trading range, which would be pretty much at, and I know many people won't like to hear this, 30 cents, right? 30 cents. It could be a 50% haircut. So remember, this is the cycle where you actually have to be selective on which projects you're in. I have taken a position on Phantom, i.e. Sonic, right? The new name is Sonic. I have taken a position over there, but I would be cutting that position in the next couple of days. If this doesn't start to bounce from this key level, I would have to exit, rebalance, and move that capital elsewhere. Right, cool. Let's go into some of the AI coins. I see some of you are asking about AI16Z, Cerebro, things like that. Let's have a look at AI16Z. How has that fared up? I know it got pretty smacked, right? Pretty smacked with the liquidity drain. Is it getting a nice rebound? That is the question. Where's AI16Z? Give me 1 second before I start searching. Okay, AI16Z, because I have these things already pre-charted. I think maybe I must go on my other chart. It's not this one. All right, so all the way back down to the bottom of the range low. Let's double check on this one. I think this one's got all the key levels on. AI16Z. Double check on this. Here it is. Okay, there we go. Not looking good, bruv. And this is what I warned of. This is what I warned of. Do you guys remember I pulled out the Wall Street cheat sheet psychological phases, and I explicitly said on the day, go back to that video, literally on that day, Thursday, the 2nd of January, you can go back, fast forward through the timestamps to where I spoke about AI16Z, virtuals, etc. And I said, be very, very, very careful that this is not the final blow off top phase where you then ultimately going to lead into a complacency bounce. Whether that's a complacency bounce or that's a complacency bounce, at the end of the day, this thing's getting absolutely rinsed. And now you've lost your SR flip region. You've lost the upsloping trend line. Your next level of interest is going to be about 58 cents. So that is the unfortunate truth, right? Wall Street, let's quickly go to that Wall Street cheat sheet. Let's just quickly show everyone, anyone that might be new here. There it is, Wall Street cheat sheet. Let's click on that. And there it is. So this is what I spoke of. Going back to this, I said you might be in the euphoria phase. Be very, very careful. If you create a swing low, lower high, that's your complacency bounce. I mean, you're probably in denial right now. These things move quick. They move like meme coins. So ultimately, I would have said that, that was euphoria, which is what I did say on the day. Complacency bounce. And looking at this over here, denial, right? You're heading into denial, and not the river in Egypt. That is denial over there. What comes next over there after denial? Panic, capitulation, and then a slow sideways grind, right? So you might see something like that, and a slow sideways grind. Because these cycles happen very, very quickly, chances are that will also, when the rest of the market bounces and ETH starts to break out into new all-time highs, this probably will recover. So I'm not here to fudge your bags, right? I'm just saying it as it is. And I'm assuming all of the AI agents are going to look very, very similar to this. We can have a look at a couple of the other ones. So Altcoin looks absolutely amazing. And the reason why is because hot air rises, right? Of course, hot air rises. So that one is looking good, but I wouldn't be buying it over here. What I would be doing is I'd be marking out the 50% levels. Just hold on, that is the wrong fib. Let's just grab this one. I would be marking out the 50% levels, and I'd be looking to buy support around $1.71, right? And this will adjust, of course, if price keeps rising higher and higher. But the first major pullback will be looking for support into about $1.70. If you don't have any of that on the table. Okay, let's quickly pull up a couple of the others. Let's see how's Virtuals doing. So Virtuals, did it survive the liquidity drain? Okay. Be careful on this one as well. Again, going back to this chart over here, that may be your complacency bounce. I'm not that sure yet. Virtuals is kind of like you're basically buying the picks and shovels, but you're below the yearly open. And I think this was actually the specific chart I was speaking about. Euphoria, complacency bounce. What comes next after the complacency bounce? Anxiety, denial, panic. Of course, it doesn't necessarily, it's more the psychological phase. It doesn't mean it'll follow structurally exactly like this, but do be careful that, if you bounce and you just set another lower high, you are probably going to break that. And this could pretty much retrace all the way down to 50 cents if it did play out this full cycle, which is pretty brutal. Okay. But nevertheless, support, right? That is support. So your best case scenario is that you form a trading range over here between support and the yearly open, consolidate for a bit. That would be between $2.20 and about $3.80. Okay, AIXBT, we can have a look at that. I think this was one of the very, very strong ones. AIXBT, let's check it out. How's it doing? This was one of the strong ones. It's still holding up. So this would be an opportunity, right? Coming perfectly into the yearly open. This is a trade I would take, right? Let's quickly measure this out as well. So from bottom to top, you pretty much caught exactly at that 50% level, right? So your price is hovering slightly below. This is your major demand zone. So for AIXBT, if you did want exposure to that, I'd use the lower time frame to try and get a bit of a trigger plan together. But there it is, hitting the yearly open. If it can gain acceptance and remain above that yearly open, that will start to look really, really good. Again, guys, I will remind you, go through to Well School, sign up over there, because I do talk about these things, key levels, gaining acceptance, level to level trading, trend trading. All of this is covered over there, of course, in the crypto course that we have. All right. Let's see, what other big ones should we have a look at? Let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know. I am keeping an eye out on everything. I'm just going to do a quick scroll through. How is Arweave doing? Is it surviving? Arweave's attempting to reclaim the yearly open. Let's move back onto the daily time frame. It looks very, very similar to the ETH BTC chart, which is just completely bled out over there. So with trades like this, you really want to wait for confirmation of the reversal. And the important thing to remember as well is it's very rare that you get following a bleed like that, all the way to the downside, following a bleed like that, it's very rare that you just get like a straight V-shaped recovery. Usually what will happen is you'll get a bit of a a ranging market before you get a trending market. Okay. Render, let's have a look at Render. And then let's also have a look at some of the meme coins. So just quickly jumping onto Render USDT. There it is, Render, and all the way on the top. Perfect. Okay. Daily, how's it doing? It is holding the yearly open, which is a good sign. It's been a bit of a sloppy chart. So I'd give it a little bit of time. I could kind of see this, if you really look for it, you can say similar to ETH with that left shoulder, you got the head, and then you got the right shoulder for potential inverse head and shoulders. So yeah, keep a lookout on this. You just want to see it maintain that yearly open. If it can hold above the yearly open, which is at $6.83, it's probably okay. If it starts to close below the yearly open, expect that this is going to retrace back to $3.60, right? Okay, we said a couple of the meme coins. Let's scroll up. How are the memes doing? So Giga, let's go to some of the top memes. I put them in order in terms of the best performers. So we can just quickly scroll through this and see how it's doing. Giga Chad, very, very strong. one of the top coins out there, holding the yearly open, absolutely pumping, looking at continuation up to about just shy of 13 cents, right? So Giga, one of my top memes out there. I feel like my list has been rearranged. I do apologize, guys. This should not be here. I would have to scroll through the whole thing again. That is a little bit frustrating. It's TradingView sometimes does reset these things, but let me try remember them off by heart. So with back into range lows, providing a second opportunity, potential double bottom over there. I just want to see WIF on this chart so we can look if there's any sort of bullish divergence is taking place. So here's WIF. Okay, there it is. And you have a bullish divergence taking place over here. Hopefully it doesn't fail if this holds as a double bottom, coming into that major support. That's going to be looking good. At the end of the day, the full bullish trade activates. Previously, I said if you get above the yearly open and then you break structure getting above $2.18. Now that we put in a confirmed lower high, basically you can default back to just get above the yearly open. If this can get above the yearly open, you automatically breaking structure, putting in a higher high after what this would be the first higher low. And then you have possibility of a trend reversal whilst coming into, of course, that major support. Okay, let's see. How's Brett doing? Quickly touching on Brett. You got it. Perfect, right? As of today, the candle hit the SR flip region. That's what we're looking for. I said be patient, wait for it. You have your parallel channel rising towards the upside, your SR flip demand zone. It tagged it, hit that level. Similar to WIF, reclaim the yearly open, and then you have confirmation, higher probability, I should say, of confirmation of at least that key level holding. You hit the demand zone on 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, straight into that level. Now, ultimately, same story, reclaim the yearly open. All of these, you want to reclaim the yearly open. Let's see, Bonk was one that was doing really well, I believe. So we should probably have a look at that. Where is our Bonk chart? Let's just pull it up over here. Bonk, USDT. Okay, Bonk. Let's click on that. There we go. Bonk, USDT. This one is above the yearly open, right? That's why it's not too bad, right? Bonk's holding the yearly open over there. This is a big SR flip. If you look at this whole area over here, let's quickly grab our tool. If you use this whole area over here, that is an SR flip, right? Put a yellow box around it. Perfect. So resistance, 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 deviate, and now you're possibly deviating back towards the upside. So the reclaim, there it is. There's the reclaim, deviate, get above the yearly open, and then you can start to target back towards the highs and possibly even beyond. All right. Okay, let me know in the comments, guys. What else have we got over there? Let's see, is there anything that I'm missing over here? Also, quickly, Whale School, this is what you would learn. Feel free to read through on your own. We cover everything over here. Risk management, support and resistance, candlesticks, chart patterns, ranges, trends, moving average strategies, market cycles, portfolio structuring, how to trade with liquidity, looking at the volatility to determine when to enter and exit a move. And then, of course, the most important lesson, trade execution, how to scale in and out of trades at key levels to reduce risk, right? So everything is covered in the course over there. Learn how to trade like a whale in just 10 days. All right, what else, folks? How is Trump doing? Let's quickly take a look at that. Trump USDC. Okay, so let's see. Look, this could definitely very well be a super key level that was hit. If we just draw in terms of support levels, you can see based on these candles over here, very, very important. You would have swept that low below 34 cents, held up, and now you're possibly putting in a high low, and this could continue. Of course, as per valuations go, this coin is completely overvalued, very, very, very overvalued, but it does have the liquidity, right? You're seeing absolutely unbelievable. I mean, guys, look at this. This guy just sold over $1 million worth, right? 1.194, $1,194,566 market sold, just immediate exit. What happened to price? Nothing, right? Price is holding strong over there. So this is absolutely insane. Let's see what some of the other whale orders look like over there. Mostly just big whale sells, right? If you look at these sells over here, $1 million, 36,000, 16. What else have we got over here? I saw one that came in over the course of the weekend. It was a buy order for $13 million, one single fat finger buy, market buy into Trump coin. Absolutely insane stuff. I've never seen anything like this. It looks like the last buys came in 11:34. That was about 30 minutes ago, and now it just seems to be whales dominating the sell orders, right? Okay, a couple of buys coming in right now. Yeah, you have some buys. Look at these: 20K, 20K, 39K, $10,000 over there. A little bit of a dolphin buy. Absolutely insane. Let's see, how's our very own Goku holding up amongst the liquidity drain? Well, if we go to Goku over here, $15 million market cap, it's still holding up, right? If you want your dark horse opportunity over here, the cream rises to the top, right? And I do believe that this is the cream, right? This is the cream. Goku Super Saiyan on Solana, very, very, very good charts over here. Perfect. The fact, guys, you have to understand, you're comparing with some of the big dogs out there like Pepe, Mog, etc., and this has held up much, much, much better. So we're just waiting for that risk on back into the market. Just quickly re-looking Bitcoin. All in all, that's looking good. Imagine once these stochastic RSIs start to turn back up properly and we get full expansion over here. I do want to remind you, the bulk of the move, right? The bulk of the move occurs over here. Let me highlight these zones. So when you get into like the 65 to about 90 zone over there, which I've just highlighted, when the volatility expands into this zone, this is where that peak euphoria tends to occur. And that's where you get those strong trending moves. And the same is true over here. Once you start to enter into this territory on the stochastic RSI on a high time frame, like the weekly or the 5-day, this is where you get those big moves. And where are we at now, right? The train is only just leaving the station. For those of you that want to take your trading, one step further to the next level, I will remind you as well that we do have the Whale Room Discord. This is where I was keeping everyone up to date with every single thing, all the drama over the course of the weekend, doing live videos as well. We do live Zooms multiple times a week. I'm not the only trader over there. We also have other legends in the space, who are constantly scalping. These are live trade opportunities that you can take. Massive profits in the group. This is the Whale Room trading community. I think it's the best Discord in the entire world. I might be a little bit biased, but feel free to check it out over there. Whale Room, I probably at some point will be closing off applications to come in completely. So use the link in the description below. That is it from me, folks. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Very, very good times ahead. I know it doesn't feel like it when your altcoin's liquidity is being drained, but remember the tides will shift and a rising tide lifts all ships. I'll see you all on the next one. Have a great day and cheers for now.